Howdy folks, Jabberiki here, and I've just watched the new Netflix anime series, Cannon Busters. When a king is dethroned by his evil magician's son, his other son, Prince Kelby, is taken away to hide with help from a guardsman called Odin. Kelby's best friend, a friendship bot called Sam, ends up meeting a maintenance bot called Casey Turnbuckle. The two of them decide to go and find Prince Kelby with help from Philly the Kid, an immortal who comes back to life every time he dies, but a tattoo will appear with the number resembling how many times he's died. But Philly wants nothing at all to do with these bots and their mission. He cares more about booze, women, and shooting. The show is based on a comic book series created by artist LeSean James, who has worked on a lot of cartoons, most notably The Boondocks, a series I do really want to see. One of the show's biggest strengths is its dynamic between its three lead characters. While Philly can be sardonic, cynical, and surly, the bots are far more friendly and wholesome. This can help the show in two ways. If the show starts to get a bit sentimental, then Philly's rude commentary will stop things from getting too cheesy. But then if an episode becomes quite dark, and trust me, it does get dark, then the bots will comfort the audience with their sweet innocence. Plus, it's just really funny watching Philly getting fed up and mad at these bots who mean really well, but are just so cheery. I feel as if these characters' personalities bounce off each other and balance things out. The world of this series is hard to pin down because you can tell that LeSean James has taken influence from so many different kinds of anime shows that he loves. There's a wide combination of different kinds of genres like ninja martial arts, futuristic sci-fi, Wild West, fantasy adventure. On the one hand, this does make things very unique because you have no idea what kind of place we'll end up in each episode. But it's still kind of confusing why these different aesthetics have been blended together and what they will do in the long run. I do hope there's a backstory why everything is mixed around like this. My fear is that LeSean is only combining all these different things because he wants to show the things that he loves, which is admirable but might not support the show, we'll have to see. This is also a really funny anime series. It's hilarious. There's lots of great goofy antics to watch, but there's also some fantastic one-liners from characters. Speaking of characters, there's Philly, who is a jerk. He really is a terrible person, but he's also quite likable because he's got this charming charisma to him. There's something quite fun about his overconfidence. But it's also entertaining watching his ego get bruised. Sam is kind of like a Disney princess, very naive and innocent, but what makes her so great is how blunt she is. This is especially hilarious when she's taught insult humor. Most importantly, it's revealed that she's secretly a cannon buster, which means that she'll transform into a literal cannon whenever one of her loved ones is in trouble. This not only makes her a very important character in the team, but it's also really funny that once she is finished her duty of being a cannon and transforms back to normal, she has no idea how many people she's killed or injured. Casey does have a very shrill voice that can take some time to get used to and will make it kind of annoying, plus there are moments where she displays incompetence, but I do love how much heart she has. She's a very loving character who adores all the friends she has around her. Plus she does have her use because of her background in mechanics. Oh, and I adore how excited she gets whenever she sees some kind of scrap or robotic parts that she can use. I'll admit that Kelby is my least favourite character in the whole show. Yes, he can be compassionate and caring, but at the same time, he's a brat. A really whiny brat. Yes, the show can point this out, but that doesn't make him any less insufferable at times. I do hope that he develops over time. This could be his coming of age. While Odin is a far more likeable character, he can be stoic and serious, but I like that you can tell he has a lot of experience and history. Wherever he and Kelby go, he has some kind of advice to give. He wants to prepare Kelby in case he dies. That's quite a brave and mature angle for him to take. Plus, he's not afraid to tell Kelby to get in line. Then we have 9, an alcoholic ninja. Yes, you heard me right. He is fantastic. I love that he's at his most agile and awesome when drunk, and he'll only do things if there's beer involved. There's this mythical mystery to him that I quite like as well. I want to learn more about him. I will admit that he's a tad overpowered at times, like if our characters are in a sticky situation, you can tell that 9 will appear out of nowhere and kick everyone's arses and we can move on. He can struggle at points, but there are moments where I thought, well, you know what, this seems a bit too easy for him. Yeah, it's awesome how slick and badass he is, but I do hope that we explore his flaws too, because being drunk doesn't really give him any kind of disadvantage, it actually helps him. The main villain of Locke is not exactly interesting because he spends most of the season just sat on his throne, barking commands at his minions. But the unique thing about him, even though he's a very cliche kind of villain, is that he's not doing this for himself. There's more to this. Each episode features its own villain as well, and the rogue gallery for this show is so fantastic that I don't even have a favourite. It's that damn good. I love them all. They're memorable, they're creepy, they're sinister, but also can be funny and campy, and yeah, they're really enjoyable villains. A lot of them aren't that developed, but what they lack in background is compensated with their sheer personality. But even though this show is pretty much a comedy road adventure, it's still got a deep side to it. It can get serious. It explores the theme of robot existentialism, what it means to be a robot, whether their feelings are real or artificial. Which isn't exactly new territory, but I like the way that the series handles it and takes the time to explore it. But more interestingly, it looks at the responsibility of immortality. The idea that being bestowed with immortal life is a job, is an opportunity, something to take advantage of. Philly himself has to question, am I making good use out of this power? Or am I wasting it? What can I do with it? Sometimes he's very confident about what he can do with it, other times he just doesn't know. And that adds to his character. He's not just a rude jerk, there is a side to him that is very emotionally conflicted. Visually, the character designs are incredibly distinct. You can tell that this show was created by someone that has a lot of experience in character design. But when those characters move, a lot of the time the animation is limited and looks like there's not much of a budget involved, kind of like we're watching an early 2000s anime, but when there's some kind of action, the animation's quality will increase and look very impressive. So yeah, the animation is inconsistent, sort of a hit or miss in terms of quality. While the opening and ending songs are awesome, these catchy songs that include a mixed hybrid of funk, R&B and hip-hop, the soundtrack for every episode is just there, it exists. It's not bad music, but it's also not the kind of music that adds much to the show. When your major influence is Cowboy Bebop, that's quite a big deal. I do feel as if the music could have had a bit more punch to it, something that really added to the flavour of the series. To conclude, Cannon Busters is a lot of fun. It's definitely an anime series by an anime fan. It can be hilarious and silly, but also dark and sinister, sometimes even serious. But these tones never feel like they're whiplashing into each other. They blend quite well. It's made clear very early on that characters can get killed and in gruesome ways, but a sense of humour is always there to make sure that things don't get too dark. The series is rated PG-13 in the US and 15 in the UK, so keep that in mind. This show isn't exactly for kids, but at the same time I wouldn't say that it's squarely just for adults. It's kind of for teens and adults. I've been Jamboree, and I hope that you enjoyed this review. If you did, then feel free to like, subscribe, and share. Also consider supporting me by making a monthly pledge to my Patreon in return for awesome rewards. Thank you. Cheerio, folks.